Hi guys, very welcome to my spontaneous Saturday night live show. I hope you're all great out there. Hey Dion, hey Edward, hey Cool Gaming, excellent to see you all here. As always, guys, I'm very sorry that I couldn't pre-announce this live stream. I know that a lot of you have been asking me to do so, but the fact is that I just don't know when I have uh, good internet available, when I have time away from my family so that I can do these live streams. So I will just have to, you know, go with the flow and do it whenever I have the possibility to do so. So guys, I hope you're all doing fantastic out there. How are you? Tell me. Rakshit, hey, Teert, good to see you guys. So, this is all, as always, up to you guys. So I will be here for your sake. I love interacting with you guys. So just ask me whatever questions you have. I'll try to answer them. Normally, it tends to be quite a lot of messages going through. So I will just grab the ones that I see and try to answer those ones. Okay. Cool. So, Coil, you have your first flight school lessons on Wednesday. That's great to hear, man. I have gotten a lot of messages from you guys who are just about to start your training, and I really, really hope that you're doing fantastic and that it's going well for you. And, please keep sending in your questions to the channel. Even though I might not have time to answer all of the comments that are being sent in, I am definitely looking through all of them. And if I see that there's a common thread out there, things that you guys want me to talk about or discuss, then I will make a video about it, or I might just make a blog input on my homepage or something like that. But I am reading every single one of your comments, guys. So keep sending those comments into my videos and to the videos of my mentor cadets, because I really appreciate it and it helps the channel to grow. Dimitri, hi, all the way to Tromsø, Norway. I hope you guys are not too cold in Norway. Cool Gaming has the first question here. Why are simulators so expensive? I'm assuming that you're referring to the full flight simulators, the level D simulators that we use in the airline industry. And the reason that they are so expensive is because A, they need to move around. B, they need to move around in a good way. Okay, so the accuracy has to be absolutely flawless between what you see on the screen and what you feel in the motion, and how all of the systems are interacting with the pilots. Okay, it has to be exactly like the aircraft, and in order to maintain that level of accuracy, it is just extremely expensive technology to keep and to maintain. So that's why they're so expensive. You can get cheaper versions, cheaper simulators that are not as accurate. As soon as that happens, the prices drops very, very quickly. But if you want the ones that are allowed by the authorities to be used for actual flight training, well, then you need some really, really good stuff, and that's why they're expensive. Malik Aviation, do you think I should become a helicopter pilot? Well, first of all, I think flying a helicopter seems absolutely fantastic. Like, it looks so cool to be able to do so. However, the working market, like the amount of jobs out there, is quite limited. So that's something that you need to know. And the training is also more expensive than the normal aircraft training. So if you know what path to take, if you have a job lined up, or you know something that I don't, and you think that you can get employment, then absolutely go for it. But be aware that the market for helicopter pilots are even harder and tougher to get into than the aircraft airline market. Stephen Daly, hey mentor, do you recommend getting a degree before training? This is something that I discuss in almost every live stream I do, guys. Yes, I do. I think that if you have the possibility and the money to get yourself a degree, then that is always good for two reasons. A, if you are in the United States, you are most likely going to need a degree in order to be able to apply for the airlines in the first case, okay? And B, because it's good to have a backup. All right, because this line of business, anything can happen. You can lose your job, the airline might go bust, or you might get a stick in your eye and lose your medical or whatever. In any case, it's always good to have a backup plan. If you have a backup plan, like a degree, for example, even if the disaster would strike and you wouldn't be able to fly anymore, at least you could very quickly find another income source to live on. So I always tell guys to, if you can afford it, if you have the time and so on, yeah, get a degree. It definitely is not a bad thing to have. And quite a few airlines actually will require you to have one. Jay Menton, thanks a lot for being the inspiration. Well, thank you. Actually, you guys are my inspiration. I am doing this for you guys because when I see all of this untamed enthusiasm out there, it really helps me to maintain my flame. So I have to thank you for keeping my inspiration going. Jacob B. Hi, why do airlines overestimate their flight time? I don't really understand that. You'll have to write what you mean because the airlines are actually keeping a very, very good track on the flight time that their pilots are doing and so on. If you mean why they overestimate the actual block time, as in the schedule, it is because the schedule is built on the aircraft flying the filed flight plan, and in most cases we get loads of shortcuts during the way. So if we take off on time, it means that we quite often are early at your destination, and that is because we very rarely fly the entire route that has been planned. Edgar Freitas, can you speak about derate? Yeah, why not? All right. So on the 737, we have two types of derates. We have what's called a fixed derate, which is where you basically just decrease the output thrust that the engines produce. So for the 737-800 that I'm flying, for example, we have 26, 24, and 22,000 pounds of thrust available. Right. That's the first kind of derate, and we always try to derate the aircraft as much as possible. Now, why do we do that? That is because we want to extend the engine life. Okay, the less thrust we take out of the engines, the longer the engines lasts, basically. So we start with a fixed derate, decide which one of the 26, 24, 22K we need. And then on top of that, we can use something called assumed temperature. Now, assumed temperature is a way of basically tricking the engine that the temperature of the air, and so the density of the air that's going through it, has a higher temperature. So it's actually outputting less thrust than what it could. So it's a way. It's kind of a it's a very, very complicated thing to explain this, but it's a way of tricking the engine to actually derate the thrust even more in order to fine tune. The 26, 24, 22K derate is very crude. It's a big derate, but then with the temperatures we can kind of fine tune it so that we get just enough thrust so that we can safely take off. That's what we want to do. We want to derate the thrust so that the aircraft is safe to take off, but it also extends the engine life, and that's why we're doing it. Lola Metro, hello. Great to see you here, that you didn't miss it this time. I know I'm getting loads of feedback from people who say, why don't you just tell us so that we don't miss these live streams? But like I was saying in the beginning, it's very hard because I never know when I'm going to do a live stream. Like now, I'm just doing half an hour because my wife lets me, and it's great. Kevin Connolly, what would happen if you spill food or water on the flight controls? Well, the flight controls in themselves not too bad, but if you spill water or coffee or Coca-Cola or something on the central pedestal all over the avionics equipment, that can be really bad. And actually there's been incidents where people have lost comms completely, lost communication with ATC, had problems with all kinds of systems because they have spilled. So spills in the flight deck is actually a bigger problem than you might think, which is why we're not allowed to drink from open containers anymore. We have to use screw cups, screw lids for the cups that we're using, things like that, because you never know. And it's just, even if nothing happens, if you have spilled on any part of the flight deck, that has to be reported in the tech log. And when it's reported into the tech log, it has to be then fixed, taken out, checked, and it's extremely expensive for an airline. So we have to be very, very careful when we eat and drink inside of the cockpit. Great question, by the way. Nick B25, hi mentor, what's the best thing to do before you start your ATPL exams, and a tips on what to get a head start on? Listen, that like the ATPL exams, I think last time I checked, it's about 15 kilos worth of books that you need to go through. You can, of course, help yourself out before you even start your training by, pre-reading the PPL stuff to get a little bit of knowledge stuff. But I would say for the ATPL training, just be aware that it's going to be hard work. Be mentally prepared for it. If you can get your hands on the ATPL books early, that's great, so that you can start kind of weeding through and getting a general sense of what it is. But then it's just going to take a lot of hard work. There's no way around that. You are going to have to spend loads and loads of hours in those books in order to be successful in your ATPL exams. There's no silver bullet, any golden key. It's just hard work. Let's see. More questions. Fly me some. Have you encountered the LAHSO this year so far? I'm quite good at acronyms, but that one I'm not sure of. So can you just write what you mean by that one, please? Jay Menon, something about jet lag. Yeah, jet lag is what happens if you fly over continuous time zones and you change time zones. So the body clock is set to the time zone in the country that you're in. And obviously, if you move to a different time zone, the body is not going to be prepared to that time zone, which means that you're going to have a disconnect, and it's going to affect your body, your fatigue, and everything. Short to medium haul pilots like myself very rarely have problems with this. Long haul pilots encounter this all the time, and everyone has different strategies to cope with it. Most of them try to just stay on the home time zone, so they sleep during the daytime when they're out on layovers, and then they just come back and they're on the same time zone. But others, they actually do try to change in order to get the most out of their layovers. So, it's all depending on how you cope with it. More, guys, I'm getting very far behind here on the questions. Let's see. So fly me some. Did you have any aviation background before you applied to your airline company? No, actually I didn't. I did. Well, I was really lucky, guys. I did my flight training as part of my my college training. Basically, it was like upper level high school college. When I was 17, I was admitted into this government sponsored program in Sweden, where I basically studied all of my normal exams, all my normal subjects in the natural science degree that I took, and I did my aviation training at the same time. Extremely intense, really fun, but it meant that I was trained, I had all my licenses when I was 20 when I got my first job, so I went straight into the airline industry. Coil, my flight school interviews on Wednesday, any tips? Yeah, be yourself, try not to be nervous, they are going to ask you why you want to do this. Have a good answer to that. They're going to ask possibly for any weaknesses you have, so be prepared to have a good answer for that as well. But generally, just be yourself, be relaxed, and I'm sure you're going to do great. Let me know how it went, by the way, in one of the comments below. Let's see, I'm going to have to change to someone else who I hadn't answered to yet. PMDG dangerous. I'm starting my PPL next week. Do you have any advice? Yeah, enjoy it, man. It's going to be a blast. Like the PPL stage is really fun because that's the first time that you actually get kind of acquainted with not the airline world, but the aviation world. So it is built from you not knowing much when you start. So don't worry about that. Just go there, be well prepared for each lesson as always. Read your theory thoroughly and really enjoy the flying because it is fantastically fun. Jericho, do you keep your flight hours on paper or on cloud? Well, I'm old school. I actually have my logbook that I'm filling in as I'm going along, and I'm actually a little bit behind at the moment, so I have to go and do that. But yeah, I don't have a electronic logbook yet, and the reason for that is I haven't had the chance to transfer all my hours over to the electronic logbook, and B, some of the aviation authorities actually like the old logbooks. Most of them actually want copies from the paper logbook, so I've just kept it like that. Apollo, do you need maths? Yeah, you do. This is also something that I mentioned in almost all of these live streams. You are going to need both physics and math, not like rocket science degree maths, but you are going to need to have a good understanding of it. The same with physics. Physics will help you a lot. because a lot of the subjects in the ATPL theory will actually have a little bit of background in physics, so you need to study that. Kevin or Erlen, good to see you, man. Will you be lifting more weights? I will, hopefully, continuously, as I'm in the hotel almost every week now. I'll try, like I said in my video, I try to keep myself in shape, but I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm just going to keep myself, the cardio going and stuff. Shreras Rai, why is it that airlines prefer the nationality people over their cadet program, offer the cadet program? What other alternatives do we have? Well, some airlines actually do want people from certain countries because that helps them. Like I know Scandinavian Airline Systems, SAS, for example, have a requirement that you speak one of the 3 Scandinavian languages because that is what their whole culture is built on. Most airlines don't really care. I know the Gulf Airlines, they do not prefer, but they help their own citizens slightly. But this is up to the airline. Every airline, every company has the right to choose who they are going to employ, unfortunately, in some cases. But that's just the reality that we have to work on. If I have any tips on how to get around it, well, the world is your oyster. You can choose and apply for jobs all over the world, providing you have the work visas to do so. More questions. Let's see. Any tips for, so that's Antpara HD, any tips for first officer on their new job? Yeah. Be aware that you are going to have a very steep learning curve. Try to learn what you can from colleagues, from captains. As a first officer, you are going to have to master the art of being like a chameleon. What I mean by that is that you're going to have to slightly adapt to all of the different captain styles that you're going to fly with, but still maintaining your level. Okay, you are going to have a level where you feel that the operations are safe and that you are comfortable. Never let anything drop below that level. Okay, so to a certain level you can adapt. Some people are going to be very SOPs, some captains are going to be less SOPs and more hands-on flying, and that's fine as long as they don't drip below what you feel is comfortable. Because if you are not comfortable, you have to speak up, you have to assert your point of view. It's very important. I see this in the sim a lot. The more the first officers assert themselves when they feel uncomfortable, the more errors are being picked up. So it's really important that you speak your mind and that you tell your captain what you think is right. Okay, it's very important. Alex Mannings, binocular vision, please respond. I don't really know exactly what you mean by that. If you talk about actual medical requirement, I never talk about medical requirement because I'm not a doctor. So if you have any questions regarding eyesight requirements, things like that, then I'd advise you to please contact your local AME, Aeronautical Medical Examiner, and put those questions. You just Google whatever your city is an AME and you're going to find loads of them. So just give them a call and ask them all of the questions you might have that are medically related. More questions. So by the way, I love the way that you guys are interacting with the channel. This is absolutely fantastic. I'm so privileged to be able to answer your questions like this. More questions then. Okay, Mac Place, can I fly more than one aircraft? Yes, theoretically you can have almost as many types as you like, I believe, in your license. However, most airlines will only let you fly one type at any given time. Okay, so you can have several types like the Boeing 737, the Airbus 320, 21 in your license, and they can be active. However, it's likely that you're only going to get to fly one of those, and the reason for that is that we don't want pilots to start confusing, procedures that they might be using in one aircraft to another aircraft and stuff. That is it's hard for the pilots, and it's very likely that it's going to lead to errors. So most likely you are going to fly only one aircraft type at a time, but you might switch during your career. Claudio Clo, are low-cost airlines safe? Are pilots better there? Well, No, I don't think that pilots are better there, but they are definitely safe. These discussions come up from time to time. And first of all, there are no, if you're talking about low cost airlines in Europe, for example, you have to be safe in order to maintain your license to fly as an airline. Okay. Um, they are regularly checked. All the airlines that are operating in common airspace are always checked by authorities. Okay, so they are safe. If pilots are better in one airline or another, probably not. All airlines tends to have a minimum standard that you need to apply to. But yes, low-cost airlines are as safe as any other airline out there, and I can personally guarantee that that is the case. You know, it's the like I fly for a low cost airline myself. I am extremely proud to be part of the training organization. That training organization is widely known to be one of the best ones in the world. People don't think so, but that is the case, and you know it's. That's all I have to say. Basically, it's a privilege to take part of that training organization. Did you see the Turkish Airlines de-icing video on the web? Actually, I saw a few. I didn't pay them much attention. Did you know? Did you mean the one that they were using a rope to de-ice? Things like that. Like you will see all kinds of things when it comes to the wind drops. Because if you're talking about airlines that very rarely get subjected to wind drops, and then suddenly they are. First of all, it's very rarely the airline's fault. It's normally the ground handlers, the operational handlers in the airport that are doing these things. So very rarely are the airlines to blame. They have to, of course, look after them, make sure that they follow the procedures that they should. But you know, if you come to a place which never has snow and all of a sudden they have snow and they're going to start de-icing for the first time in years, you're going to get to see some funny stuff. You know, the important thing is that it's being kept safe. Okay, that if they do something wrong, they have to redo it until it's right. That's the important bit. Um, Blackout Barbie, do you recommend doing the hypoxia training? What is hypoxia training? I've never done hypoxia training except the theoretical stuff. So please, tell me what it includes, and I'll tell you if I think it's going to be a good thing to do or not. Lemtrix, when you go to university, what you should choose? That's going to be up to you. You know, if you don't have a an airline related university course that you can go to, you can go to something that you think that you are going to be successful in, because most airlines, they don't really care what kind of university degree you have, but only that you have a university degree. So it's better that you do something that you feel that you're good at and that you can use later on than trying to find something that is very, very airline oriented. At least that's my view. And as always, everything that I tell you guys, my view on things. You know, it doesn't have to be right. It's just one guy's view. So take it for what it is. Um, More questions, loads of them coming in. Kevin, will you be flying the 737 MAX? I hope so. I really hope so. It looks like a really cool aircraft, so I'd love to get my hands on one of those. Um, Duello 88, what do you do as a training captain? As a training captain, I have the privilege to fly with our new entry pilots. So, a training captain does a couple of things. We do what's called line training, which is when you have done all your initial training and you have been accepted into an airline and you've done your type rating. Well, then before you actually get to fly with normal captains, you have to fly with line training captains for something called line training, and that is to train you on the aircraft you're going to fly and the procedures that you're going to fly and the network that you're going to fly. So me as a training captain and my colleagues, we fly with all of the new guys, introducing them to the company, to the culture, to all of the rules and regulations. So that's one thing we do. We also do something called line checks. So all pilots, this is different in different airlines, but all pilots generally have to do at least one line check every year, where they show that they do the things correctly. And then I and my colleagues we're sitting back and we are observing the flight. And then at the end we have a debriefing and we talk about things that we've seen, things that can be improved, stuff like that. And then in my role as a type rating instructor and examiner, I do training in the simulator. So type rating training, for example, but I also do examinations. So the operator proficiency check, the license proficiency checks, the command upgrade checks, things like that, I'll do in the simulator as well, which is more of a authority rule, something that I do. I put my aviation authority hat on and make sure that people abide by the minimum standards that the aviation authorities have set up. So more questions, guys. This is really fun. Actually, I love doing these live streams. Taif Siktar, do you get discounts when you go on holiday? Yeah, there are some discounts. Some airlines who are IATA connected, they have some really good discounts. We are not, so I get just a general crew discounts, which can still be very good, but some general discounts we do get, yes. More. So, Technostat. This is a classic. According to you, which is better, Boeing or Airbus? I don't have, first of all, I haven't flown an Airbus, so I can't really speak about that. They're two completely different philosophies, guys. None of them are particularly better than the other. It's a personal choice. They're both safe, very safe, types. So I would love to try to fly the Airbus because that philosophy intrigues me. I would love to learn, but I'm not going to say that one is better than the other. However, I at the moment prefer Boeing because that's what I've been flying for 15 years. So I'm a Boeing guy at the moment. Dark Knight 07, could you do a different job and pay for flying license to become a pilot? Yeah, that is actually something that I have been recommending to people to do if you don't have money. And this is a question that I'm getting a lot. If you have problems with financing your airline training, they're very, there's nothing I can do. I don't have any golden tips on how to quickly gain money for this. The only thing that you can do is actually work. Get yourself a job, save up money, fly with the spare money that you have, use that for flying lessons, and build your modular course on the side of the job that you're doing. So it will take a little while to do so, depending on how much you earn, but you will eventually be able to get all of your licenses that way as well. So it's a good way of doing it. Kai van Loon, yes, I have been to the Netherlands several times. I fly into Eindhoven quite a lot, for example. Mike Thompson, she is so beautiful. Okay, I missed your previous post, so I don't know who you're speaking about there. Snazzy McGuy, please tell me how did you finance your own training? Well, like I said before, I was very lucky to be sponsored by the government in my country. There was only 30 spots per year when I applied to them in the whole country, and I managed to get one of them. So I'm very grateful for that, and that helped me a lot. I self-sponsored my type rating, but that was about it. Okay guys, actually I am going to start wrapping this up because I've been doing this for 35 minutes now and my throat is starting to get sore. Something I want to tell you guys is that very soon, probably today or tomorrow, I am going to announce a new competition based on my virtual reality application, Mentor 360. So there's going to be more questions regarding the videos inside of Mentor 360 and the briefing video. So this time I'm going to have a 2-stage question where you need to have seen both the videos inside of the application and the briefing videos in order to answer the question. So stay tuned. If you have the Mentor 360 app, then you'll be able to participate. If you don't have it, then get it. If you want to participate and win one of these headsets, I'll send it out to you. But the question or the competition is going to be announced very soon. So stay tuned for it. I'll take a few last questions before we go. Which aircraft would you want to fly, Concorde or A380? The Concorde, no question about that. The A380 is very similar to an A320 or something like that. It's big, that's it. The Concorde is a legend. I would love to try that. Mike Thompson, could you send me some Maria's photos with Pantyhose. Dude, come on, man. You're talking about a future colleague. I wouldn't send any pictures of you in pantyhose to anyone, so I'm not going to do that with her. Like, when it comes to this, guys, please remember that my mentor cadets are doing this in the spare time to help you guys out. Okay, so be civil, please, because I want them to continue to provide their experiences and stuff for you guys, and I know that you guys want that too. Pablo Gutierrez, could you please explain the approaching minimums call out? Yeah, it's that approaching minimums is an add-on. It's not, we don't have the approaching minimums. It's a GPWS, so ground proximity warning system, call out that the aircraft does in order to alert the crew that they're about to reach their minimums, which is the minimum altitude that they can have and continue the approach. They have to be visual. To continue the approach, they have to be visual at the minimums. If they haven't attained enough visual references at minimums, they have to do a go around. So the approaching minimums is just to alert the crew that, okay, either you have the runway and the approach lights in sight now, or start to mentally prepare for a go around. Right, more. So I will take one last question and then I will have to go to my wife, which is waiting outside. Kevin K, do ATPL pilots get some studies in aircraft accidents? Yes, all right. We study, and this is something that goes on throughout their entire career. We study what's called case studies, which is specific accidents that happen, and once the final report is out on those accidents, then we get to get in, look at what happened, listen to the voice transcripts, listen to what happened generally, basically like air crash investigations, but less drama, just more facts, and see that this is what happened. How can we make sure that this never happens again? Is there a CRM part involved? Is it technical? How did these pilots cooperate? How did they deal with the problem that came up? Or how did they not deal with the problem that came up? So we try to always learn from the horrible things that happens out there. So yes, you will be studying case studies. If you become a professional pilot, you will see a lot of case studies during your career. So guys, that is it. Once again, thanks a lot for participating. I hope that you like these live streams. I'm going to continue to do them. I don't know if I will ever be able to schedule them, because it does require me to have both internet and free time to do this. But I really love the way that you guys are interacting. So have an absolutely fantastic evening, guys, and I will see you next time. Don't forget to download the Mentor 360 application if you want to take part in the exercises that is coming up and the competitions that are coming up. And there will soon be a new surprise for you guys that I think that you are going to really like. Very, very soon, I'm going to announce my next project, and I think you're going to love it. So for now, have an absolutely fantastic evening, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.